me know when you're ready. Okay. All right. Good evening, everybody. Thanks for coming. I'd like to call to order the Board of Education meeting for the Committee of the Whole on April 15th, 2026 at 6:30 PM in the boardroom of the Administration Building at 70 Conover Road, Colts Neck, New Jersey. If we could get a roll call, Mr. Marasco.
Absolutely.
Thank
Mrs. Cameron? Present remotely. She's participating remotely. Thank you. Mrs. Horowitz?
Here.
Mr. Rico? Here.
Yeah.
Present. Mr. Rignetta?
Here.
Mr. Scales?
Here.
Mr. Scarpa? Mrs. Volpe?
Here.
Mr. Walsh?
Here.
Mr. Whitberg?
Here.
You have a quorum.
Okay, pursuant to the Open Public Meetings Act, Chapter 231, this meeting has been duly advertised in the Asbury Park Press in a schedule of meetings dated January 23rd, 2026, notice of which has been filed with the Deputy Clerk for Colts Neck Township, and the requirements of posting of notices have been met. At this time, we have a very, very special guest in our community. Captain Smith is here with his lovely family. I am honored to have him lead us in our flag salute tonight in honor of the military child. So if you could come on up and lead us with that. Thank you very much.
Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Great. Thank you. If you could all have a seat. Okay, I want to just go over briefly, if everybody could take a look, we have some information items at this time. With respect to Captain Smith's time, I want to skip right over to our proclamation this evening. I'd just like to make a few remarks. Today, I had the honor of attending the Purple Up Day at Cedar Drive Middle School. I was so excited to get the invitation from you, and I appreciated being there. First off, I want to thank all of our staff, Dr. Garibay, our principals, Dr. Rigby, Mr. Mercer, the principals at the other school, and all the administration staff that made this possible, make our children, our military children, feel absolutely wonderful. It was their day, and I was so happy to be there to share it. So at this time, I want to, present the Board of Education's proclamation. April is the month of the military child, so I'd like to appoint someone to read that proclamation. Let me see, Mrs. Horowitz, would you like to do it? Yeah, okay, great, thank you very much.
Proclamation, April is month of the military child. Be it resolved that the Colts Neck Board of Education hereby approves the following resolution. Whereas the month of April 2026 has been designated nationally as the month of the military child by the Department of Defense to underscore the important role military children play in the armed forces community. And whereas the New Jersey State Board of Education and the Department of Education aim to ensure through the policies established that all students are challenged to maximize their potential and to excel academically, socially, emotionally, and physically for college, career, and throughout life. And whereas the New Jersey Department of Education encourages school districts to provide support to children of service members as they transition between schools to address their distinct needs and prepare them to graduate as well-rounded citizens. And whereas the physical, social, and emotional well-being of children in military families is essential to their success and has a direct impact on the resiliency of military families serving our country. And whereas these efforts and support can improve the lives of military children and help pave the way for future generations. And whereas it is both fitting and proper that special recognition be given to ensuring military children feel safe and supported in our schools and community, so that their parents can focus on the challenges and missions they face in the line of duty. Now therefore be it resolved that the Colts Neck Township Board of Education recognizes April 2026 as the month of military children in New Jersey.
Great. Thank you so much for that, Mrs. Horowitz. I just want to reiterate my remarks from this morning. The children of military families are very special. They give up, they sacrifice, and they live extraordinary lives. And we appreciate everything that you do for our country as parents and military personnel. This board is so grateful. I said it this morning. We are so grateful for our military, and we're proud to have Naval Weapons Station all right in our backyard. And going forward, as you know, anything you folks need, we will be there for you, and we will make sure you receive those services from this district. I'd like to ask anybody from the board if they want to make any additional comments in regards to the military and the Purple Up Day. Mr. Arico.
I know nobody knows this, but I come from a very long line of military. Dating pretty much all the way back almost to like the Crusades. I mean, seriously, I mean,
Okay,
we
all right.
had our, the whole 23andMe and stuff like that. So my uncle was in Vietnam. He was a lieutenant. He held the one and only air base there in Vietnam, and he was shot at and bombed every single day on that base. My grandfather was in D-Day 1, saw a lot of horrific things on that beach, him, his friends, horrible. And believe it or not, my grandfather was fighting against him in Italy at the time. So I had two grandfathers. One was in Italy with the other alliance and the axis of evil. And my other grandfather was on Normandy Beach. But thank God Italy changed sides, rightfully so, when they got rid of Mussolini. And then well before that, I have my great-grandfathers both fought in World War I. And then, I'm not going to bore you with the rest of the wars, but.
Well, thank you to your family service. We were unaware of that, but thank you as well. Yeah. Anybody else want to make comments about our military Purple Up Day, our children?
I love the students from Earl attending our school district. I think it brings their life experiences, relating to other students in our district. Let them know what a military kid goes through, and the sacrifice they make. And it's nice to have our community, kids that attend school with your kids. I think it makes our community a better community for it, and we're so grateful to have Earl as part of our Colts Neck Township.
Great, thank you, Mr. Walsh. Anybody else? I know Dr. Garibay definitely wants to make some remarks.
I'll say one thing. Thank you so much for your service and everybody else who serves. I never had the privilege of serving. This is my little try to give back to the community, but I'm not putting my life on the line every day, so I appreciate that. And I come, like Jason, I come from a long line of military family as well on my mother's side, dating back to the Revolutionary War. So I appreciate everything you do. You keep our country free, so thank you so much.
All right, Dr. Garibay.
Just briefly reiterating what I said this morning, we are so grateful to be partners with our families and to just hear that we continue to listen about the needs of the families and the kids. And that's probably the best thing that you teach us every day is listening and responding to the needs and working so closely with Ida West Jones, who was our liaison, who comes to many of our board meetings, comes to every event possible. And I think that partnership is so invaluable to what we're able to do and provides us with great insight as to what the needs are proactively. And I think that's even better. Both, we're not very seldom in a situation where we are reactive. It's more about planning and being prepared for the different things that come our way in partnership, and more importantly, come your way. And that's the most important thing for us. So thank you. Thank you for being part of our school community, brightening every day, participating in our track meets like you did about an hour ago and doing well. And, taking that forward as a memory with you in your journey. We hope that we're a bright spot in your journey, wherever it takes you in the future, and that you know that you're always welcome, as are all of our military affiliated families. Always welcome back in Colts Neck. So thank you for all that you do. Thank you for being a bright spot in our school community.
Just want to make sure Mrs. Camera's participating remotely. I'm not sure if she's queuing to speak or anything. Do you usually hear? I don't see her on the video. Okay, all right, so I don't see her on there, so, okay, at this time, like I said, we have one more proclamation. I don't know if you have a minute for the second one. This one is also very dear to this board's heart. We have a proclamation. April is Autism Acceptance Month. At this time, I'd like to have Mr. Walsh read that proclamation. If you could just put your mic on and put it closer to you, so. Yeah, I'm sorry. All right, just bring it up to your face so people can hear you. Sorry.
I've always loved the special needs community, and I have a really affinity to the kids. Being a police officer in town all those years and walking the hallways to Cedar Drive, I go out and meet all our special need kids every morning and walk them in. To me, they're special, and it makes our school community that much more special. So, and we do have a lot of friends that have autism. Our special needs program is superlative. I think it's one of the best in the state. Parents move to Colts Neck to have the resources and the great educators to give them a great education. So, proclamation, April is Autism Acceptance Month. Be it resolved that Colts Neck Board of Education hereby approves the following resolution. Whereas the month of April is globally acknowledged as Autism Acceptance Month, dedicated to increasing awareness, understanding, and acceptance of autism spectrum disorder. And whereas it is important to recognize and support individuals with autism by fostering a learning environment and community that embraces neurodiversity and promotes inclusivity. And whereas autism spectrum disorders are characterized by a range of challenges and strengths impacting social communication, behavior, and sensory experiences. And whereas raising awareness about autism is essential in promoting early diagnosis, intervention, and access to appropriate resources and support. And whereas creating an inclusive and supportive environment for individuals with autism involves promoting understanding, empathy, and acceptance within schools, workplaces, homes, and communities. Whereas the Colts Neck Board of Education acknowledges the importance of fostering understanding and support for individuals on the autism spectrum and recognizes their unique and social and emotional needs. And whereas creating inclusive and supporting learning environments that cultivate positive relationships, understanding, and empathy for all students, including those with autism, is integral to the mission of the Colts Neck Board of Education. And whereas the Colts Neck Board of Education is committed to promoting inclusive practices within educational settings to ensure safe, supportive, and equitable learning environments for all. And whereas collaboration among schools, families, and the broader community is essential to enhancing awareness and understanding of autism and to furthering inclusive practices that benefit every student. And whereas the Colts Neck Board of Education recognizes the ongoing efforts required to advance autism awareness and acceptance, contributing to the creation of a more compassionate and inclusive community. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the Colts Neck Township Board of Education hereby recognizes April 2026 as Autism Awareness Month in New Jersey.
Great, thank you so much, Mr. Walsh. Just brief comments on this as well. Want to echo Mr. Walsh's comments. We're very proud to have, all of our students that have autism attend this district. We're so proud of the work and their milestones that they reach here every single day. At this time, anybody want to make comments on that particular resolution? Okay. All right, great. At this time, that will conclude our resolutions for this evening. Captain Smith, I know you are a very busy man. I don't expect you to stay unless you want to stay for this 3-hour meeting. You're more than welcome to. The meat and potatoes are coming up, but it's up to you. I know you're very busy, so if you want to, exit now, we certainly appreciate you coming and leading us in our flag salute.
You sold me with 3 hours, but
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know what the protocol is, but if you don't mind, if I can just real quick.
You can certainly, yeah, please come up and speak at the mic so the public
So
can
I
hear
can
you.
tell you, myself as a parent, but all the parents that live and work in Naval Weapons Station Earl, we consider ourselves incredibly lucky to be part of the Colt Neck School District. Not only your academic reputation, I mean, that as a parent, that's what I want, right? I want my kid to be prepared for college or life or whatever it is. And so constantly, year after year after year, you guys score at the top, and that's phenomenal. But it's the teachers, the administrators, the board members that have recognized the unique challenges that a military child faces, and you guys, honest to goodness, care. It's obvious how much you care and how much you put into making sure that they succeed, and that means the world to us. It really does. So please, I appreciate all the kind words, but thank you too for what you do. All right? All right, with
Thank you
that,
very
I'll-
much. God bless you guys. Yep. Thank you.
You take some food home if you want, Captain.
Yeah, I want to go back to the top where I missed like the other comments. Yeah. Okay, folks, we're going to resume back in order here. I skipped over a few things. I believe we did the information items, but if anybody wants to, look at that briefly again, then we're going to open up the floor to comments from the public. If anybody has comments that they want to get up and share, comments, concerns, or questions, you can do so at this time.
I'm good, okay. Tracy Diener, 5 Monticello Court. I'm sad that they left because I just wanted to tell him thank you, and I wanted, as a parent of 2 children in the system, I love that my kids are going to school with them. I think that that's incredible. It teaches our children to respect for those families and for those children. So I'm sad that he walked away and that the family walked away, but I just wanted to put on record that I love that as an American and as a proud parent of my children, for them to be able to associate and really, learn from them too. And I just wanted to tell you thank you. That's all.
Great, thank you so much, Mrs. Diener. That's an excellent comment. I just want to let you know, Mrs. Jones is here. She is our liaison, and I'm sure that she will reiterate those comments back to Captain Smith, his family, and his daughter especially. So that was very kind of you to recognize, and thank you. Okay, anybody else want to make some comments at this time? Okay, seeing none, we're going to close that. We're going to go right into our action items for approval. Yes, absolutely. I'm going to hand it over to Dr. Garabay for a second, or as ever, how long you need.
I just want to point out, as we're going into the action item, it is a Cal meeting, so the action items aren't grouped by category. But I do want to call out, as I always do, action item number 3 on the agenda this evening is the retirement of 2 individuals. And if I may start with the first one, it's Mrs. Veronica Zeno, who is an outstanding instructional assistant in our district. Being an instructional assistant, and in some districts they're called paraprofessionals, whatever you want to call them, they're angels in the hallways. They work every single day with students, some with significant needs on a regular basis. And they show up every single day for these kiddos. And we couldn't operate without them. And the care and the love that they give to children every single day is just immeasurable. So, and Veronica Zeno is one of those people. So we congratulate her on her retirement. 22 years of service as an instructional system. That is not just years of service, that is years of love of children that she has worked with throughout the year. So with all respect and happiness and good wishes. We wish Mrs. Zeno in health, happiness, and many, many smiles, and as much love as she gave to children in Colts Neck back to her in her retirement. So congratulations to her retirement. A new one that came in Friday on the off the presses is Miss Amy Desmond, who is a legend at the elementary school and in our district. 28 years as an elementary school. She actually has over 30 years of teaching, but 28 of it has been at elementary school. A teacher with much dignity, integrity, and I cannot tell you the hundreds of students who have benefited, and especially in the areas of reading and writing, in all areas really, but she exudes a love of teaching all of those things, and having children grow under her experience as a teacher is really something special. And I know that students from many years ago, and even the ones currently at this time, will look back and remember the impact that Mrs. Desmond has had on their lives. So with much happiness, regrettably, I have to throw that in. It is regrettably, but with much happiness, health, and good fortune, just sharing such a fun story of the type of person, if you don't know or haven't experienced Mrs. Desmond as a teacher. She had a milestone birthday a couple years ago, and one thing that I just loved about her was she wanted to return to playing the clarinet, which she played in school. And she sat with Mrs. Chandler, the band teacher, to refresh her skills, and then sat on the stage with her students and played with them as if she was to be part of the band. She did it on her own time as something that she just wanted to do. And that's the kind of person that Amy Desmond is and has been and will be for all time to come. So I wish her all the health, happiness, and good fortune in her retirement.
Great, thank you for
Thank
those
you.
wonderful comments, and yes, thank them both for their service to our district. At this time, anybody have any questions, comments on those 16 items? Questions or comments on the 16 items? Okay, if seeing none, I'll take a roll call. I'll take a motion to move those items.
Motion.
Second.
And roll call, please, Mr. Asker.
Further questions? Mrs. Camera?
Yes.
Thank you. Mrs. Horowitz?
Yes.
Mr. Arico?
Yes.
Mr. Rignetta?
I'm going to recuse from 4 to 6 due to my employment, but yes to all the rest.
Thank you. Mr. Scales?
Yes.
Mrs. Volpe?
Yes.
Mr. Walsh?
Yes.
Mr. Wickberg? Yes. Thank you. The motion carried.
Okay, great, thank you, Ms. Marasco. Okay, we're going a little bit out of order here. We have one of our most dedicated student liaisons here tonight, Mrs. Emmanuel Diener. I'm gonna skip her to the front so she can address the board and bring forth any initiatives or ideas that she wants to share with us this evening. So if you could come on up, Mrs. Diener.
Good evening, everybody. I have an update on the bullying project that I'm working on, and if you're unsure what I'm talking about, I started working with Dr. Garibay and Dr. Rigby on a project that will help not fully fix, but at least help kids start standing up to bullies and people who are not being nice to other people. And so we started working on a survey which has stuff on it about, like, do you know what bullying is? Can you, like, tell the difference? Have you been bullied? And to like figure out, like, where bullying hits the hardest. Like, does it hit harder on 6th grade females than it does on 8th grade males? Like, that sort of thing on the survey. And I also was recommended for a youth leadership group called Youth Time to Shine. That's a group that is part of NJ Forest Compass, which is a organization that does free presentations on bullying, tobacco use, mental health, physical health. And I applied for it and I got in. And it's all across Monmouth County, students that are from middle school to high school, I think. And I went to the first meeting a couple of weeks ago. We made vision boards, and not this week, but next week, I'm going to a, like, not a festival, but like, yes. What she said. It's going to talk about drug and tobacco usage, and I just recently received like word from friends that are in the elementary school that some students in the elementary school are getting like made fun of and bullied, and I thought about maybe expanding the project to the elementary school as well. I don't know if that's possible, but because like I don't want any student to be like bullied, and I guess it kind of starts at the younger ages than it does in middle school. And as most of you may know, I'm graduating this year, but I will of course continue to like email Dr. Garibay and Mrs. Volpe and Dr. Rigby about the project to see how it's going, and I'll of course come to all the board meetings so I can stay in touch. That's all I have for you guys tonight. Thank you. Have a great night.
Well, Mrs. Dina, I'm gonna have some remarks for you. First of all, I want to commend you for basically going head-on with the topic of bullying. I know it's certainly an issue for a lot of people, and we certainly don't want to harbor any of that in this district. This board is very, very disappointed to hear any bullying would even happen here. So I'm proud that you're leading the charge against this. I also want to say that I commend you for putting out the survey to collect that data of exactly what's going on. So, you could, streamline, focus, and, see how to make your program better. In regards to putting it in the elementary school, I think you should master it at Cedar Drive, see what works, and then once it's all tightened up, I think Mr. Osmond would certainly love to incorporate some type of branch of this over at the elementary school, starting with the 5th graders, because I think they're obviously the most mature. So I commend the entire program. I also want to congratulate you on your acceptance, and I think it's well-deserved. You're a strong leader, and I want to let you know you're welcome to come back to this board after your graduation, and the podium's always available to you, okay? So thank you for all your work you do with the liaison program.
Thank you.
All right, thank you.
I believe, I'm not fully sure, I'm pretty sure I'm the only student liaison that's been in the program for
From the
all
beginning.
three, from the
You
beginning
have
for all
been.
3 years of
You
middle
have
school.
been. Yes, your tenure's
since
been
6th
the
grade.
longest, and you've been the most active, and I believe your ideas and initiatives have passed the most, so to speak. So we appreciate you, and I don't know if any other board member would like to commend her on all those achievements, if anybody wants to say.
Go get her.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I could say congratulations, we only have a few more years, you can run pretty soon.
Yeah, you can actually run for the school
That's right.
board. Yeah, yeah, college is more
it.
important right now, but then you could come back and pick up a
right.
volunteer job.
Think about it, what is the Freehold Regional District, the 18-year-old was just elected?
Yes, yeah, yeah,
Getting close.
yeah. So, yeah, keep that in mind. Yeah,
Not that
yeah.
we're recruiting you, but
Yeah.
something.
Anybody else want to make a comment? No?
I just wanted to reiterate what you said, but, in terms of listening, right, I think that one of the things that we did here is at the elementary school next year, we're planning for and funding a leadership program at the elementary school where we look at, how we can be upstanders and things and, working in an after-school capacity. So I don't want to steal the thunder of Mr. Osmond and talking about that, but that is something that's in the works, and it is about navigating, it's not just about kindness, it's interactions, interpersonal skill, like all of those kinds, and cultivating that at an earlier level, social media and all the things that come along with it. So, so that's that's a connected piece to it. If you don't get to see a project come to fruition at the elementary school, it's on the radar.
Great. Well, thank you so much for your time and
Thank
coming
you.
to speak tonight. We always
Of
appreciate you.
course, yes. Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we are going to start the board liaison reports. We're going to start with Mrs. Harwitz for the Parent Advisory Committee, soon to be Parent Information Forum. I'm sorry, Parent Information Forum. We have it actually printed incorrectly here tonight. I apologize for that.
Let me just pull up all my notes. So our next meeting is scheduled for this Monday, April 20th at 7 PM. Did we have a topic? I don't know.
Wait, this Monday?
This Monday. I decided it was after there. I mean, we kind of talked about a topic, but.
Yeah, we're going to send the agenda out. We're
Okay.
going to be revisiting some of the recommendations that came
Right.
about with regards to transitioning programs and
Having more of an open forum.
correct about talking things, yeah.
All right, sounds good. Do you want me to go into the PTO stuff?
Yes, please, yeah, go
Okay.
right ahead.
8th grade photo montages, any submissions need to be submitted by May 1st. There's a second grade event in the primary school cafeteria, May 29th at 6:30 to 8 PM. And lastly, the 8th grade dance is June 12th from 7 to 11 at the Colesnick Firehouse. That's it.
Great. I just want to backtrack back to the parent information form.
Yeah.
We discussed a little bit about that initiative about having the eighth graders kind of welcome the fifth
Yeah.
graders. Yeah, I think that's a fantastic, I forget who brought that up. I'm sorry, my mind is drawing a blank, but one of the ladies brought that up. I think it's a fantastic idea, even though we do have that little bit of a, an open house for them, but being one-on-one with like an eighth grader to walk them through what's expected, I think it's an exceptional idea. This way they go in a more confident manner to the middle school, knowing a lot more by their mentors. So
definitely.
thank you to whoever brought forth that. Okay, moving on, we have the Colts Neck Township newsletter. Mrs. Camera, once again, she's participating remotely. She's going to do her report.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
March 24th, the spring newsletter was emailed to families. I'm just reminding residents who do not receive the newsletter via email that you can go to the school website, Colts Neck Township Schools. We have a link to subscribe. It's under the Board of Ed tab, newsletters, and I am encouraging residents to subscribe. Okay, and that's all for my newsletter.
Okay, great. Thank you, Mrs. Camera. Going right into the Colts Neck Township Arts, Sports, and Extracurricular Activities, Mr. Rignetta and Mr. Wickberg. Anybody have comments?
Yes.
Yeah.
Right now, there's track and field clinics going on at Colesnick High School for grades 3 to 8. Wednesdays, starting tonight, on Wednesday nights starting tonight. But I believe you can still sign up. Happening next week through May 20th. They're going on. It's $120. And they're taking 35 participants. Again, that's for track and field for grades 3 to 8. There's also a Colts Neck cheer program that's going on for girls that want to cheer at the Pee Wee games. Right now, summer practices are going to begin on July 20th for aerial gymnastics, a portion of it, and I believe at a different price. But this is for ages 5 to 10 will be Wednesdays, 6:30 to 7:30, and then ages 11 and up will be Wednesdays from 7:30 to 8:30, and then team practices will begin same time until around July 20th. Tuesdays and Thursdays will be for 5 to 6 year olds. Tuesdays and Thursdays from 5 to 6 for ages around 6 years old, 6 and 7, and for 8 to 10 year olds, it'd be Tuesdays and Thursdays from 6 to 7:30, and then for 12 to 14 year olds, it'd be Monday and Friday from 5 to 7. Those would be the team practices for the summer, and for the fall, the team practices move to Friday nights. And the 6 to 7 year olds will be 4:15 to 5:15 on Friday night. The 8 to 10 year olds will be 5:15 to 6:15 on Friday nights, and the 12 to 14 year olds will be Friday at 6:15 to 7:30. And the first scrimmage will be on August 15th, so they could cheer at the first scrimmage, and the first game will be August 23rd, I believe. And they can also will be cheering at that as well too. The seasons will begin again mid-August, and it goes through mid-October, and then possibly farther depending on playoffs. The registration closes on May 10th. So go to colesneck.ayf.teamsidelines.site.com to register, and that's about it for now. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Mr. Urganeta. Would you like to add anything, Mr. Wickberg? Yes. Yeah, sure. There we go. Yeah.
I wanted to thank Mr. Willis and Ms. Spitzer for the spring course they held. It seems like forever ago. It was only a couple weeks, but it was a really great show. I want to thank them, the faculty, staff, and custodians for setting up the room and putting it all together. It was a good show.
Yep, great thank you for those comments. We want to, me and Mr. Walsh had attended also the band performance, and it was exceptional. So I echo the comments of Mr. Wickberg. I just want to remind you guys, keep on the back burner, we do have a pending meeting with the Sports Foundation leadership. One more before the end of the year. We have not sent the email out, but I figured we'd wait closer to maybe the end of May. I don't want to wait till June because it's going to be hectic with my daughter's graduation and other things. We get very busy in June. So by maybe mid-May to late May, we'll be sending out an invitation to meet with them to tighten up, their request for next year. Okay, moving on to the Colts Neck Township Committee, Mr. Walsh.
We both attended, President and myself, and go over the highlights of the committee, Township Committee meeting. They gave a proclamation to our Drug Alliance organization, headed by Anita Dallas, who's given countless years of service to educating kids in our district, in our schools, on awareness of drug and alcohol dangers, pitfalls of going down that road. And as a proclamation, just recognizing the impact of alcohol-related injuries, deaths, and crime associated with alcohol. And the National Donate to Life proclamation was read, highlighting the importance of registering on when you get your ID, driver's license, be a donor. You can possibly save 6 or 7 people with giving your gift of life to another person. They had a couple ordinances that tighten up the ordinance for cottage food operations, which I was pretty unaware of. Running a business from your home, there's regulations on that, and certain people can come, so certain people can, the whole, really.
Yeah, nobody wants dog hair in their
yeah.
cookies that your neighbors are selling.
It was important they update it. Motorized bicycle ordinance was updated. These kids flying around in the parks, creating havoc on e-bikes and scaring the heck out of people riding horses on our beautiful trails. They can ride into the parks, accessing the roads into the parking lot, but they don't want them riding, and obviously they shouldn't be, all over our parks and our trails. So their suggestion was they're going to start posting signs, and the police department's going to enforce it. The big thing of the meeting was the amending the zoning ordinance for the 3 developments that our Superior Court judge in Monmouth County imposed in our township. They had to amend the zoning laws to meet the court order, which was given out on March 9th. One of the subdivisions apparently is deed restricted. Long story short, if the township governing body didn't pass this ordinance, it would open up our township to developers building everywhere and anywhere. Basically, to keep our immunity, the township committee, one voted no, and a couple, the rest voted in the majority to keep us safe from losing our immunity. The township is vigorously going to appeal that decision, and it could take a couple of years in the courts. The impact of those court-imposed mandated affordable housing obligation for round 4 could be up to 865 units. How is it going to impact our Board of Education? It could possibly say, Rob probably tell better than I can, anywhere from 300 to 400 plus students. We'll talk about that in long range, but that was the big one of the committee, township committee. They had to endorse the amended 4th round housing element. and a fair share plan for the court. The committee reports, our police department, I'm proud to say, being a retired officer in Cold Snake Township, is going to receive its accreditation again. It's a big achievement for our police department to be accredited by the chiefs of police. Basically, their department's really squared away. Policy, procedures, every facet of policing, how it affects the community, and their police actions they had to pass a rigorous testing. So it's a big achievement. They're going to be recognized on May 13th, I think, the next township committee meeting. I'm not sure. Anyway, Chief of Police Danny DeVito is going to come with other chiefs in the state and Monmouth County and give special recognition to our police department. He's doing a fantastic job. Kudos to Chief DeVito, his command staff, and officers in particular. The other, Madam President, can you remember any other important things?
No, I think that covered absolutely everything
Click
that
It or
was said.
Ticket, by the way, is starting May 1st to May 31st. They're going to be out there enforcing seatbelts. Pretty much, we give recognition, the town recognizes our DPW for taking care of the trails and parks. We have a great Department of Public Works. And that concludes my report.
Yeah, I
Thank
thank
you,
you. Yes, one moment. I want to just commend our Cold Snake Township Police Department for the recent accolades they just received. I'm sure this whole board feels the same way of the officers and all that they sacrifice as well. I remember Kevin serving. Their job is certainly not easy. They deal with a lot of BS, regardless of whether this town is as rural as it is. There is a lot of stuff that's always going on, and I just want to thank each and every one of them for their dedication to our town. Mrs. Camera, would you like to have some input there?
Yes, thank you. I just wanted to talk a little bit about the e-bikes. I completely understand that students on e-bikes should not be riding on horse trails. I'm glad Mr. Walsh brought that up. However, I do think maybe the town might consider adding designated bike lanes to promote safety for everyone. I know as a driver there's many narrow roads, and I do find some of the current conditions concerning, and I want students to have a safe way to bike around town. So maybe it's something that the township, maybe in collaboration with the Board of Ed, we can work together to create some bike routes that connect our schools and parks to our neighborhoods. It might be something we want to consider for long-term planning. And I do just want to reiterate that our schools have been and will continue working with the police department, educating our students on e-bike safety and local regulations. So, we can continue enhancing safety. So that's all. Thank you.
Great, thank you, Mrs. Camera. Yeah, maybe Mr. Walsh, at the next meeting, you could mention something about working together with making the roads safer somehow with e-bikes.
We have horse trails, we can have
Bike
e-bike trails.
Yeah. Okay, maybe it's something to think about and, present something to them. Thank you, Mrs. Camera, for bringing that to our attention. Okay, actually, are you done, Mr. Walsh?
Yes,
Is that-
I am.
Okay, all right. Moving on to the Cold Snake 250th celebration. It's back to you, Mrs. Camera.
Great, thank you again. So the last meeting was Thursday, October 9th. Dr. Garibay and I both attended. I'm going to start with some of the school events that we're doing, and then I'll move on to some of the towns. So first, I just want to remind our families, as well as Cold Snake High School families, that the calendar contest is on. Dr. Garibay had updated the flyer for the township's contest. It's also on the Cold Snake Township Schools website under USA 250th. It is not just for our students, but all residents. So I just want to be clear that was something we discussed at the meeting, and it's all Cold Snake residents. Any child can enter, even if your son or daughter goes to private school. So seniors will be receiving $200 and will get the cover. Our K-11 winners will receive $100, and the checks are being donated by the Cold Snake Historical Society. Likewise, we have our Board of Education video contest under the same tab, so I encourage families to go out and get your kids involved. We also discussed at the committee, actually Dr. Garibay told us about a patriotic themed field day, similar to our patriotic Read Across America week. We are still working on hanging those 1776 flags to be placed at each of the schools. Some have been sold out, so I know that's something that our administration is still working on. And we were informed at the meeting that many of the township's 1776 flags were stolen. So just want to let the community know, I find that really unfortunate and wanted to make sure everyone knew. On the Board of Education USA 250th tab, we have links to township events, Monmouth County events, the Monmouth County Library, national events as well. Okay, now moving on to the town. The two next township events are occurring in May. So the first one is Wednesday, May 6th. It's the barn tour. Ticket prices are $50 per person, and it's sponsored by the Colts Neck Business Association, and the contact person is Connie DeMeo. There will be 2 charter buses that have bathrooms. It will run from 10 to 2 with a half-hour stop at each spot. They'll be going to Stillwell, Synergy, Stonehenge, and Foxbreeze. And I believe Dr. Garibay, I'm not in person, but made flyers for this event. The buses will rotate. That way there's not too many people at each of the farms. You can purchase tickets via a QR code, the Colts Neck Business Association website, or through social media. And something new we found out is that at each barn there will be some kind of snack or drink. So it really sounds like an amazing opportunity, and I hope many people are able to take advantage of it. The other May event is the Memorial Day Parade. It's hosted by Recreation and Parks Department. It will continue just like previous years with the bike decorations and the Colts Neck High School ROTC and the marching band. Some new additions are, again, the 1776 flags along the parade route, and they are looking into a 1-mile fun run before the parade, again with a 250th theme. The other thing I do want to mention is, unfortunately, we couldn't pull it together for this year, but we are looking for an 8th grade trip to Washington, D.C., so it's very exciting. Dr. Rigby is working on this. We're hoping it will be a new annual trip in honor of the 250th, the semi-quincentennial celebration, and we're looking at it being tentatively scheduled for November of 2026. Still getting some feedback from parents, making sure they're interested. So the last thing, just a reminder to join the Colts Neck, New Jersey 250th page on Facebook and Instagram to see all of the town highlights. And that's everything.
Great. Thank you, Mrs. Cameron. I have some remarks. I had found out through Dr. Garibay that we got a huge positive response for the 8th grade trip. I mean, it was exceptionally welcomed from the parents. So I'm sad my daughter's not going. Not gonna lie. That would have been a blast, girl. Anyway, I am so proud that we are moving forward with the following classes. I'm so happy we could present this to them at least. So thank you, Dr. Rigby, Dr. Garibay, for making this happen for future classes. It's going to be an amazing experience for those kids. And just to let you know, Phyllis, I do have the little flyer I'm holding up that Dr. Garibay made.
Thank you.
With regards to the barn tour. So if anybody wants to take a look at that, it was very well done. So thank you.
Right, actually, just so you know, Sue Fitzpatrick.
Oh, I'm sorry.
made it, and we were
I'm
just
sorry.
going
Dr.
to
Garibay
distribute
did not make the flyer.
I did not make it.
Right.
Sorry about that. She did not make the flyer. I'm not sure who to give credit to that, but it wasn't Dr.
Sue
Garibay.
Fitzpatrick, Sue Fitzpatrick.
Oh, Sue Fitzpatrick. Okay, I'm sorry. Sue Fitzpatrick made the flyer. Correction. Thank you for not taking the credit for that. Okay. That concludes your report, Mrs. Camera?
Yes, thank
Okay.
you.
All right, thank you. Moving to Colts Neck Township Seniors, Mr. Walsh.
Okay. I'm qualified to talk about it. Okay. Being a senior and all. Okay, the next meeting is May 6th at the Colts Neck Inn. They have upcoming trips. April 16th is a guided tour of the biggest Hindu temple in the United States, and guess where it is? Robbinsville, New Jersey. I never knew about it. It's got 10,000 statues in there. It took 10 years to build, 12,000 people to build it. It's got the biggest elliptical, am I pronouncing this right? Some dome. biggest in the country. I think it's something to behold, I was told. So they're going to be out there going on April 16th. They have some upcoming trips. They say the date for June 16th, Let the Good Times Roll, the Shore Club, on August 20th, 1776 Surflight Theater. I think that's in LBI, Auburn. I believe so. I just want to highlight, well, there's one senior turning 100. It's Joe Mack. Happy birthday,
Oh, good for him. Happy birthday.
senior member. I'd like to really give thanks to Mr. Colby in the Recreation Department. They do a tremendous programs for the seniors in town at the Recreation Center. Monday through Friday, they have body sculpting classes, fitness dances, line dancing, every day of the week for them to go down and keep in shape and keep active and keep social. So kudos to Mr. Colby, the Recreation Department, who is going to run another fantastic summer rec program out of our schools. And that's pretty much it for the senior citizens.
Great, thank you, Mr. Walsh. Mr. Scarpa's not here, but I want to reiterate the Purple Up Day in regards to celebrating our military children. Just reiterating one last time, we had a fantastic time. Thanks for everybody who participated to make that happen, and we appreciate all of our military children attending our schools. Going right into the state and county school boards, we have a couple of things. Nominations are open for the New Jersey School Board's Unsung Superheroes in Education Award. So this basically will be nominations for the support staff, bus drivers, aides, food service workers, security guards. These nominations, I encourage people, if you'd like to, their nominations are due by June 30th. And awards will be recognized at the New Jersey School Board Workshop that I always speak about. That's in October. It'll be in Atlantic City from October 19th to the 22nd. If you guys want to follow up, it's all in your emails. May 8th, we have a virtual spring conference. This will feature multiple training sessions, which will include training on Robert's Rules, school finances, chronic absenteeism. Once again, it's virtual. It's $129. It'll be from 9 a.m. to 4. That information is also in your email. And just like I said about the AC conference, that workshop is being advertised already for the 2026. That's open for registration and hotel accommodations, and that will be at the Atlantic City Convention Center. That will include the state and county school boards. We are going to move right into the committee of a whole work session at this time. We are going to start with the ad hoc Affordable Housing Committee report. Mr. Scales, I don't know if you'd like to start. Mr. Walsh, you could comment.
Yeah.
All right, great. Thank you, Mr. Scales.
Dr. Garabay, to give some color on sort of the progress you made with item number 1 there.
Thank you. So recently, Mr. Walsh had requested that as a superintendent, you start to look into things and think about it differently, leading conversations. So I had made 2 specific outreaches. One was to the New Jersey Association of School Administrators, which is my professional organization for the state, superintendents or anyone who has a chief school administrator certification, directors, assistant superintendents, whatnot, and made a similar inquiry, made an inquiry related through affordable housing through a different lens, and it's through the lens of the school funding formula, as we know, which is in desperate need of revamping, and how the school funding formula is projecting or is measuring up and or adjusted based on municipality affordable housing mandates that are happening throughout the state. And the answer that I got was very honest from NJASA, which is the conversations among that group have not taken place yet because the research that is out there is based mostly upon, and it's more recent, but it is on the educational value of affordable housing and opportunities that are provided to families when they're able to go to schools that maybe they would not normally be able to afford homes in. So that's nothing new in educational research. So I posed the same question to our District 11 Senator Gopal, who gave a very honest answer back, and it was similar to NJSA, which is there is not a connectivity of the conversations of legislation that funds schools and affordable housing mandates. Those two organizations are not having cohesive conversations. So it is a prime time to really bring forth conversations about, all right, how can we be looking at this? Because and forgive me, I do have about, it's a short 27-page report that I'm putting together for the board about things. But in general, one of the things, I'm not going to read all of it, Mr. Arrico, but one of the things I am going to point out is that the concept is that, affordable housing has the potential to increase enrollment, right? It has the potential to add in different demographics, different needs of students, so on and so forth. What it doesn't track in terms of and those are all real things. And those are all, we know, based on the information that have been provided, the largest impact that we're going to feel for our son is going to be at the primary school. That's something that we've had. That's something the demographics will say, that it is likely within the first 1 to 3 years that the largest impact will be found there. We also know, based upon our utilization and capacity studies, that the primary school is already at utilization and capacity. It's already there. So for purposes and what has been happening, I don't want to talk too much shop about it, but in terms of behind the scenes, we've had conversations about what do we do next? Because while the projections are not like, hey, tomorrow we're having 400 kids here. That's not a reality. That's not what's going to happen. But over 10 years, is that something that we're going to see growth? Absolutely. That's going to happen. But in reality, the revenue that we will see is not going to catch up to the immediate need. Okay? Because if we have a child that moves in 2 years, a student with disability, significant needs, additional funding, we won't be able to account for that child until the following year. And that's only one child. So that's how that will also work out. The other part of this that districts like ours, and Mr. Marasco, and jump in at any time, that make us unique, not unique to the state, but unique for our demographics, is that affordable housing increases ratables. So state funding is also based upon the wealth of a community. So you can receive students through affordable housing and actually get a decrease in state funding because they're not talking to each other, they're not related to each other. And that's a conversation I want to connect. Following that through the pattern of things and saying, listen, as school leaders, we get it, and we get, it's a municipality mandate, I get the law, understand all of it. But if it's an opportune time where school legislators at the state level are talking about a much needed reformed school funding act, right, and updates to that, then now is the time to do it, because there are districts, like I shared with them an article from Princeton. There were 2 articles that basically came out a week from each other. One was the budget presentation, where they captured and recognized a shortfall, right, in their budget, even with revenue that was being brought in through a pilot program, right? And then a week later, it was an announcement of another round of affordable housing that was in Princeton. So when you look at things like that, those, like, the articles are talking about the same thing in different ways, and we're not connecting those conversations. So proactively understanding 2 things. Now, the students that come to us will, they will increase our adequacy budget, right? Because you have more kids, you're spreading your expenditures over more kids. That's a visual perceptive enhancement for us, right? Because that infamous taxpayer's guide to education spending, which does nothing but compare expenditures in disproportionate ways, but that's another whole story that I'll talk about never at a later time or whatever, whenever you want me to. But in any way, that it's something that it doesn't grasp the immediate, imminent need of planning, which is why at this stage of planning and talking about our buildings and grounds, looking at it through a long range, that, all right, 1 to 3 years, our measure of growth is going to be at the primary school for the next 3 years. That's what's going to happen as soon as they're housed and stuff. That's what we're going to be looking at. So we have to be able to look at what does that mean from a restructuring, what does that look like from, and these are those conversations that, conversations under finance, if we're looking at, all right, how are we going to be tackling some of our larger projects? How are we going to be looking at managing some of the things? Because we are going to have to be prioritizing, the capacity builds. Now, I think it's about like 360 is the worst case scenario, is what I've seen. I don't want to say that, but I think in terms of, correct me if I'm wrong, but based on all the projections, based upon the calculations of demographics and all the Rutgers studies and different things like that, that is a number that keeps going out. So when we're compiling data, that is the number,
Well, it's
you know, we,
it's not a number, it's the only number is when you and I have done it, no one else has done it.
yeah, so that is the number that we look at based on a formula that is widely acceptable and used, you know. So that's what we look at for that.
Simple math.
So the way we look at that is that, okay, what does that look like? You know, and who are those kids and what are their needs? And that doesn't take into effect, we were just talking with Ida, and, you know, we know rotations are coming up and in July, and those are unknowns, you know, and what did you say? And not to put you on the spot, you're like, you're going to be getting some more, like this year, before the end of the year. So those are all things that we've become accustomed to and growing and everything. And we're not unique. It's falling everywhere in districts except where enrollments are down. You know, that's not happening here. We're not in that situation. So now is absolutely the time where we have to be talking about how we're funding our programs, what we want our district to look like long-term, because the long-term effect is from 1 to 10 years. So what do we want students 1 to 10 years from now to experience here in Colts Neck Township schools? That's the decision, and how are we going to prioritize the facilities, the spending, the allocations, the programs, and what it's going to take, knowing that nothing is getting less expensive right now, nothing. You know, when you're looking at, and including transportation costs, everything, you know. Those are your big tickets. Those who've sat on finance for a couple years, those are the big ticket things that come out, and you're like, ugh, sticker shock every year, so.
The reality, well, the educational aspect of the educators' input into the affordable housing mandates has been non-existent.
Right.
Okay,
Correct.
so the idea is, yes, receive the child, receive the family, and give them a great opportunity.
Mm-hmm.
The irony of this mandated housing is the financial impact on our school district. The school districts all around us, including this town soon, are going to be on life support. We're not going to be able to afford our normal operating budget to sustain 300 to 400, 500 students. Let's be real. Let's be frank about what's going to happen. This is going to cost our township millions of dollars to add on to their schools or build a new school. This forced mandated housing is crushing every community in the state of New Jersey. Why do we have board members in Colts Neck Township? Why are we sitting here? Because we really care about our kids' education. Our school district is one of the best in the state. Our mission set as board members is to ensure that our kids maintain that highest level of education. We still have to deal with the financial impact of it. As a board, we have to prepare early. The time is to act now, not 4 years from now, 5 years from now. The community, I want you to hear, it's going to cost millions of dollars 3 to 4 or 5 years from now to maintain a quality of education. There's no escaping that. The Trenton is enforcing these mandates. The activist judges are mandating these round 4 obligation, imposing on us, our town. They don't care about the financial impact of our residents. They don't care.
Correct.
Who's going to pay for this? Our taxpayers. As a community, as a Board of Education, regardless, we have to be prepared. We have to act. We have to have a plan in effect. Like you said, that you're going to see the primary students effective first. We're already at capacity. I'd say 2026, 2027, we're going to have to move students from one school to another.
I mean,
Possibly.
I don't think that that's something that I think that we have to look at, again, it's about utilization too, not just about capacity. So we do have to be looking at it I'm not at a point where I'm making a recommendation to be restructuring the district right
But
now.
I'm confident you as superintendent will advise us as a
Of
board.
course, absolutely, that's
And
part of what we need to do
you're-
in terms
We
of
got the blueprint
facilities.
for it.
Right, and this,
Mm-hmm.
getting together and talking to other superintendents and educators take the lead on
Yeah.
how this mandated housing is affecting the quality of education for students here and every other community. So we have big challenges ahead.
We have big work to do.
A lot of work to
Mm-hmm.
do. And we need to be in a partnership with our township committee, our township government. We need to work very closely together ensure that we're meeting all the needs for our students presently and our future population. But thank you, Superintendent, for the work you're doing. I really
Thanks.
appreciate it.
Thanks.
Well, I
Any
think
questions on
you-
what I just kind of was talking about? Like I said, I'll share. I think that the bottom line into what you reiterated was, and having more conversation with Mr. Marasco as well, is looking at it is that a very, I don't want to say, a dominant factor that's not talked about a lot with school funding is the wealth of the community. That factors greatly in. And with ratables that increase with affordable housing, and if trends still continue the way they have been for Colts Neck, we will look at it is that our local fair share, the community, the state will look at our district, as it does now, and says, the community can afford to educate its students.
I don't
And
see
our
that
category,
happening.
and
I
our
don't see that
category,
happening
no,
for
no,
the
no,
state.
meaning, no, that's what the state says about Colts Neck. That's why we don't receive a great deal of categorical state aid. It's because of our local fair share.
Yeah.
And that's what state aid does. State aid offsets that I guess, complex kind of figure in their head of saying of what a local fair share is from a formula perspective.
Socialism.
So that's basically what it says, because it takes the wealth of the community into configuration. So that's not going to decrease here. It's only going to get more, and it doesn't necessarily translate into that of state aid, which is the conversation that has to take place.
Well, we're not receiving our fair share for sure. There's nothing fair about this fair.
No, and I
mandated
think
affordable housing, there's nothing fair about it. But like I said, as a board and community, we got to make sure we do the right thing for our kids' education.
you've been eloquent about it. I mean, as a superintendent of a very successful district, probably the most successful in Monmouth County. I'll commend you for what you've done, and we got to see, some of the communication back and forth. And I'll be frank, like, the amount of time that you put in to message those people and then the responses that you got, especially from our senator, it's unacceptable. And I think we've put in some plans in place, right, with Operation District Safeguard. We've got literally put the math out there. Now, the math's been out there for about a year and a half now, right, about what the impact will be. And like you said, it's public information. It's not difficult to just say, all right, here's the square footage of the town, let's times it by the rateable. It's so easy. And the fact of the matter is that nobody is listening, number one. Number two, nobody wants to take ownership. So to the politicians that actually have the meat and potatoes to send a bill to the Senate to challenge what we have, it's not about affordable housing. And I think what's happening is that there's a lot of liberal leadership right now in Monmouth County, especially where our district is. They're afraid to say the term affordable. So I want to be clear, just as my position of the chairman of this committee, is that this has nothing to do with the affordability controls, has nothing to do with the affordable housing. It has to do with overdevelopment. So if I need to change a term to get you to do your job, tell me, because I'll be honest. You have till July 1st to give a plan to the district to let us know what we need to do to work with you. And if we don't get it from our senator, we don't get it from our township committee, we're taking over. And we're going to take over what the direction is going to be and the resources that we need. That is what Operation District Safeguard is. I know who to reach out to. I know where to go, how to do it. But we sit on a board as the Board of Education. We're not the ones that are responsible for taking action from a legislation perspective. But if we don't get that response, we're going to have to. And then what's ultimately going to wind up happening is the politicians that are in our way are going to be held accountable, and they're going to look terrible, and they're going to lose their notoriety in town and their credibility in town, and then they won't have a position come the next election cycle.
Trend is silent.
That's
It's
it.
totally silent.
Silence is not acceptable anymore, and we're not going to be reactive. We're going to be proactive. We saw what just happened. We were joking about it before, Sarah. We saw about Edison. Edison was a successful district. They just got destroyed, and they want to put in a tax increase of double digits. So it's not like we're making something up, and it's not like we're discussing that, oh, this is something that just happened overnight. We've said this now for a year and a half. We have the plans in place. do something about it.
We got a great superintendent lead the fight and making sure our district is
Yeah, I think it's
sound
about,
fiscally in shape and like kids getting the best education.
yeah, and it's about opening a dialogue, and I think that's what we did receive back, that there's an open dialogue and communication and expressing a concern and, you know, asking and requesting and sitting at that table and saying, listen, I'm learning with you. You know, as I admitted to them, this is something that based on the past couple of years, when we started with demographic studies, you know, years ago and looking at it, when the first rounds were announced and having conversation with the township committee at that point, you know, those types of things. But the nitty gritty of it, you know, it's a learning process. You learn a lot as you research it and you go down the rabbit holes of learning about more and seeing this way. And, you know, now when the first thing that came to mind was about, well, how is it being addressed the funding formula? And that's a question that I think, you know, deserves answering among school leaders.
Well, we have a community that has 3 years of zero tax increases. Nowhere in the state is this happening. All around us, it's collapsing. The school systems are collapsing. The schools are going to be closing. Thanks to Mr. Marasco as business administrator for having stewardship for the past 10 years here, making sure we're in good shape. You know, money was tucked in the right places. Thank you to the school board members, most conservative school board probably in the country, to have great fiscal oversight and conservative values.
Well, we don't spend what we don't have. It's that simple.
Correct.
When
It's
I-
basic math.
Co-chair,
You don't
finance,
spend,
business.
you stop spending. When you don't have enough money, you don't get things.
Yep.
I don't buy steak when we don't have money.
We're
It's just
lucky to live
simple.
in this town and have a school district board
That's right.
that oversees our schools, I can tell you that, that's for sure.
That concludes my Affordable Housing Committee report. But again, thank you though, Dr. Garib. I don't want it to go unnoticed that, again, you're the only one speaking up. You know, this is it. People just, you have to respond. When we ask a question, like follow our lead or you'll be left behind. That's it. Bottom line.
Doctor, I dare to say you're the only superintendent in the state that's
Yep.
putting this out right now, trying to get a round table to,
My colleagues throughout the state have been very vocal about the financial impacts in their district and business administrators. So I think that having, you know, conversations and they're being receptive, both the legislator and, you know, the legislation and being receptive to saying, let's put the two marry the conversations together.
there's no
And
conversation on GoPals.
I did not, well, no, he did reach out and, you know, he did respond to me. He was the one who actually responded with a lot of the educational research that existed, but
you
opening
didn't
up a
read, you do
conversation.
the work,
Yeah, but reading the information and future open dialogues, you know, because one of the things I mentioned in the conversation was about pilots and saying like, listen, right now the law kind of talks about that boards of education have to advocate
Was there
for
any
information.
discussion on his part of funding?
Uh,
Adequate funding? Was there any communication?
Not yet, not yet. I mean, there's been conversation about, he has spoken with our superintendent's group, come to our monthly meeting regarding consolidations and efforts and things with school funding, with the new administration, you know, sitting and kind of listening to what that's going to look like.
I
But
think the ship's sinking in Trent, and there's a lot of schools that are gonna go down with it. God bless our school community, that's all I can say.
But I think open to receiving those suggestions. Like one of the things that, you know, I circled back with to him was also being able to say, let's look at specific things that speak to us that are mandated by, like let's talk about aid and lieu, right? Let's talk about those kinds of things as things that can be switched to tax credits as opposed to expenses on family, on school districts. Like let's start to maneuver some of those things.
Fortunately, it's a little too late.
Well, it is.
It's
It's
too
funny,
late.
like you know, when you look at like, they call them scalesisms, because I always have to say something stupid, but the problem is that literally what you're doing is put into perspective, like what all of our legislative leadership's doing is they're rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic. That's what's happening. Everything that they're doing is not working, and it's too late.
They don't know what to do.
And they're just moving and shuffling things around. That's it. So like honestly, like, and I mean this with wholehearted respect, if you were to reach out to a senator and you ask for a direct question, and then that person responds with, well, here's a citation to a book you should read up on. No. When we message you, when our superintendent messages you, give an answer with information. That's all. Not speaking and putting words in your mouth, but I would like to see more information because we're asking for it and no one's giving it, and there's no ownership, there's no leadership, and it's got to happen.
And I think the response, and just to clarify, because I know I shared the exact the conversation, which was, is there a conversation that's taking place? Is there research available? That's what I asked. And the research that I got was what was available. So that, I think, was in fairness, I think it was an honest response to the question, which then prompted me in a very, me kind of way to ask another question. And so then you got a response back to the question. But that's the dialogue. That's the opening of the dialogue when you're asking the questions, and then you're able to get a response. And so I'm very optimistic to keep the conversation going, and, hoping, to be part of the conversations, just as for, there's been districts, as to your point, Mr. Walsh, there's been districts that through S2 funding, through the formulas, for various reasons that are financially being decimated. And,
Just the beginning. This is just the
they're
beginning.
looking for referendums. What happened was it Ocean Gate, that they passed a referendum to keep the school open?
Yeah.
And it went down. So they're closing the school, the only school in the town. They're closing, and they're going to redistrict to go somewhere else. And that's something that's sad. For communities, people feel sad for that, because those are traditions of walking to school, and those are the different things that people admire. So that's the part where
Yeah, what's
it's
the
not
shit-
just
yeah.
it's not just a business deal. A school district is not just a business deal. It is a part of a community.
Right.
And it has to be looked at as such. It is the largest congregation of citizens in a town every single day.
Largest-
Every single day. There is no other greater thing that happens in a community where the most little citizens come together every single day.
Amen.
So that's something that has to be at the forefront of funding conversations.
Literally the largest budget in town, most amount of employees.
Yeah, what's a shame? Yeah.
Oh,
I
yes.
We might be
Yeah.
second.
The collateral damage of this whole affordable housing, unfortunately, is all the division that it's caused in this town between everybody fighting. It's just a shame, but again, our focus is our kids, making sure they get an education, we're prepared on the long-range planning committee, and we're ready for when those kids hit the doors.
It's just a shame, it's just a shame that Trenton wants us to do so much in so little time. We have to have so much new communities in this town, new housing developments in this town in so little time. In the last few years, we didn't have to do this. It was put off to now. And this is just another example of Trenton putting the cart before the horse. I mean, I work in the Trenton government, and they put the cart before the horse all the time. They don't do their research, and the people who do the research don't talk to the individuals who it's actually going to affect. I see this all the time. And it pains me, and it makes me very mad. And with all due respect to what you did, you reaching out to Vin Gopal, it's unacceptable, the answer that he gave you. And it's just incompetence, or it's intentional. It's one or the other. And neither is acceptable.
I agree.
Hear, hear, Vinny. Hear, hear.
It's funny, he always has a lot to say. He has time and effort to put into the media commenting about my leadership on this board, but yet when it comes time to his performance to defending and fighting for us, he is nowhere to be found. He's really a pathetic politician, and I'm sorry that he's representing the schools in Monmouth County. I
Taxation
wanted to
without
ask
representation.
Mrs. Camera if she's listening.
Yep.
Did he ever get back to the questions that you had provided during that seminar?
No, but if you remember, it was the school board
Yeah, the school boards.
that was supposed to get the answers and email them
Okay,
to
so-
the,
All right, so do
to
you
all
think
the
it would
people
be
that
fair?
were on the call.
The
Do you think it
NJSBA?
would be fair to ask Mr. Tehan if any response was submitted by him to the school boards?
Oh, I think that would be very fair, and I think even just to follow up to see if the questions can still be answered if they haven't been, would be very fair, because I would be very interested. I actually have to go back in my notes and see what I asked, because I no longer remember.
All right, I'll stand corrected if that's the case, but I could almost bet on it that he has no response to those questions you submitted. Okay, moving on, buildings and ground safety and security.
I think we covered everything.
Okay.
However, due respect to Mr. Marasco, the electrical switchgear room.
Sure, I could give a quick couple of highlights from that. We had 2 job meetings up to this point. So as you know, we're preparing with, physical construction coming up on that project to replace the main switchgear there. So just a couple things to highlight. All the equipment is on site. It's been secured behind the elementary school, and the contractor, which is Manor 2 Electric, they want to begin their trenching work in the near future to run conduit, and that may happen. All the markouts from the utilities has occurred up to this point. We know that the actual equipment itself, there's a lead time for switchgear of about 16 weeks. So this work will definitely be going on in the summer and even the latter part. But they're aware of our scheduling, and everything is being done to do this work around our schedule. And ultimately, once this equipment is all installed, they do a complete transfer of power. The utility shuts down our power, and everything is being coordinated with the solar company to shut down the solar at that time and do a smooth transition of that power. That's basically it. There's
Is there a transformer needed on that?
So we don't know yet. That's a determination made by the utility company. They actually send an engineer out and make that determination. If we do, it's not a huge factor in the overall project. It'll happen, and our district will ultimately get reimbursement for that. If JCPL determines that there's a load issue or something that needs a new transformer.
Thank you.
So stay tuned. More job meetings to come, and at some point, we might request some committee members to be part of that if needed. But so far everything's
Great.
going smooth. It's
And we saved a lot
in
of
its
money.
initial stages.
Yeah, we saved a lot of money in that bid too.
We
Bid
did.
acceptance was,
right. Our
way
initial
under.
approval of the project was for just over $1 million, and the awarded contract came in at, I think, 560, something like that. So we'll have some funds going back to our reserves. That's what we need to do before June 30th.
If I may, I just wanted to also, no, I just wanted to, it's not on the agenda, so I apologize for that, but I wanted to, it's been in our updates. Back, if you recall, in the fall, early in the fall, we had an elementary pump water pump that we actually very strategically had a truck come and supply water to the building while it was being repaired, all those kinds of things. I just want to commend Mr. Marasco, who submitted an insurance claim and was able to recoup a significant amount of money from the insurance company for that claim. I believe it was about $41,000. 42, yeah, 43, 41, $43,000, of costs back through, and it was very time consuming. So I just want to thank you for doing that and following through with that and being able to recapture that
That's what it's there
piece
for
of it.
when, in terms of peril and accidents, that's why you need to be adequately insured.
Yeah, that was great news. I remember asking you, and I missed it. I didn't see it in the report. So yeah, that is great news. Okay, if we're finished, are we concluded with that?
Yes.
We can move on to communications. Yeah, absolutely. I was expecting you to take over for that.
I have something from Mr. Capassa that I know he shared with Mr. Scarpa prior to the meeting for the update. Just a couple things regarding communications. As of April 7th, the Colts Neck Township Schools mobile app had about 273 subscribers. Encourage your friends and neighbors to subscribe to to be the first to receive important notifications and have district information right at your fingertips on your phone. When published, I know Mrs. Kammer referenced and gave an update for the newsletter, the Colts Chronicle. In addition to being sent to our subscribers, meaning our families and our staff members, an additional 18 community members who do not have students affiliated with the district have signed up through the form that was placed on the website, and it's actually up to 21. So 21 community members have signed up and will be added to the distribution list. So that's a nice community outreach for our newsletter. And then as Mrs. Cameron pointed out, that the BOE American History Video Contest is still underway, and we are constantly monitoring for submissions as well as the calendar contest. So that's just update for
Great, those are
communications.
fun things, awesome. Awesome, thank you for reporting out for Mr. Scarpa. Okay, we're going into curriculum. Mrs. Camera, if you'd like to start your report.
Okay, thank you again. So number one, just getting my, hold on. Okay, is planning for the 26-27 school year. So I had sent this to board members already just to look over. It's a recap of some of our curriculum, programs, and applications. So in terms of the applications that are included in the 26-27 budget, we're continuing with Frontline for professional growth, our Atlas Rubicon for our curriculum, which is available to all parents online, Link It for our data warehouse, our Savis Envision Mathematics program. We're continuing, I'm happy to say, with both Volume 1 and Volume 2 workbooks for our students. We're also continuing with the Savis Social Studies program that I believe, was that new last year? I thought that may have been something that we had voted on last year. Dr. Gabbray, am I correct with that, or
She just left the room.
am I mistaken?
She
Oh,
just
okay.
left the room for 1
That's all
minute,
right.
so let's go
All
back
right,
to
and then
that.
we have the Zaner Blosser handwriting program that's updated now to include grade 5 per the New Jersey Department of Education requirements. Moving on, we have some of our 26-27 federal funding, Title I after-school programs. So that includes in the middle school a winter math intramural program. It includes at the elementary school Mission Mastery, which again is math and literacy, bringing these subjects to life. And then we have, again, at the elementary school, Brain Boosters, which again is in a focus on NJSL reading and math scores to help students that who are progressing to meet these, to meet these requirements. And also what's wonderful is included in the 26-27 federal funding, again, Title I, is applications such as ST Math, which we had introduced last year, our Touch Math, that was new to last year, our S'mores newsletters that all our administrators I've seen taking advantage of, sending newsletters to the communities, and Delta Math, which is a program for our middle school students that really targets remediation. Okay, so that's everything for number one. Any comments?
Seeing none, we could continue.
Okay, number two is the NWEA MAP benchmarking. So Dr. Reynolds recommended that the Board of Education maintain the MAP testing for the 26-27 school year rather than transitioning to iReady. The NWEA MAP remains a more cost-effective and reliable tool. So I am happy to see that. I do want to just mention, I've mentioned this numerous times, it's just my opinion, but I still do question the necessity of either of those two assessments in our district that already is equipped with multiple evaluation tools. And it is something, as we continue looking at budgets, it might be something down the road that we might want to move away from. MAP testing does, again, it does support meaningful data. I'm not taking any of that away. I just, again, feel that we can get this data of who, it is a data point for our enrichment students, our basic skills students, our different tiers through our Savis program and our Being a Reader program. So that's just a personal opinion. All right, any comments from the board on number two?
Yeah, on, what is the cost on that? It's cost effective, but what is the price on it? Do you know?
I don't have it this time. We talked about it at the last meeting. The NJ MAP the MAP testing was significantly cheaper than the iReady. If you remember, the first grade teachers were piloting the iReady program.
What's
And I
the,
believe that was 66,000. I don't
yeah, it's
remember
definitely-
offhand what the MAP was. I don't have that in front of me.
Yeah, Dr. Garibay
But-
just walked in. She said it's about 11,000. So yeah, it's considerably reduced from the other program. So and if you agree that it's worth, it definitely does its job at, the assessment and rating the students, I don't think the 11,000 is that,
Well,
is that-
it's per grade, I believe.
Yeah, yeah, but still, isn't the other one 66,000 per grade? So yeah, that's a huge,
Building.
yeah.
Just one, and one.
Yeah, Mr. Scales wants to comment on
Yeah,
something.
just the one comment, just if no one's aware, there's a significant lawsuit against iReady this month, so, yeah, so.
So, yeah, let's
Yeah.
just move on from that
Yeah,
then.
yeah.
Thank you for bringing that up. I was
Yeah.
unaware of it. So, okay, Mrs. Cameron, yeah, we're fine with the map one.
Okay, number 3 is the 26-27 piloting a new middle school math program. So the district will pilot Math and You program. It's by Big Ideas, which we currently use in grades 6 to 8 next year. It is a student-centered program emphasizing real-world connections, mathematical discussions, and problem-solving. Additionally, the district plans to expand its partnership with Big Ideas Learning at the high school level by introducing Big Ideas Math for algebra and geometry. So this initiative will strengthen our alignment and ensure a consistent mathematical experience for our students as they transition from the middle school to high school. So that I was very pleased with personally. Okay, any other comments on number 3?
No, that's great to hear. I'm glad you approve of that.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Number 4 is our 2026 Summer Bridge Program. So the board is proud to offer its 5th free, I want to say that again, free Summer Bridge Program for students. This is an in-person 3-week summer learning experience for students currently enrolled in grades K to 8 that focuses on language arts, mathematics, and science. As of April 9th, there's 108 students who are registered. We have 16 in musical theater, 17 instrumental music students, 75 are registered in the academic programs that I referred to earlier. Registration closes on April 24th, so parents, you can still get in if you're interested. The Bridge program will be scheduled on Monday through Thursdays from July 6th through July 23rd. From 9 a.m. to 11:30. All classes will be scheduled at the Conover Road Elementary School, including classes for primary school students and middle school students. On April 29th, the Summer Bridge and extended school year dates will be included on the board meeting agenda. And again, just to remind parents, the registration closes on April 24th. Okay, any comments, board members?
Yeah, I'd like
we
to,
have some comments. Mr. Walsh, go ahead.
I'd be a proponent of expanding that program next summer, because there's a big, obviously a big interest in our student community, parent community. The program works. It's very successful. Making sure they had the skills that they may have missed in that current grade, reinforcing before they go to the next grade. The band component of it is great, music and arts. So I'd be in favor of expanding that program next year, actually, adding another week or 2. Just crunch some numbers somewhere else.
I definitely think the board is, as we voted on this, we're all supportive of this. Mr. Wickberg is absolutely thrilled, because I remember he was definitely an advocate of this program, so I'm so pleased that it's going forward, and I agree with Mr. Walsh.
Is there a way, maybe that we can,
Certainly,
I'm
yes.
sorry to interrupt,
No, go ahead.
to expand it to like a sports section of it as well? Maybe down the road?
I don't know, it's really based on academics
I
this
know,
year.
I know.
To expand what?
The
Like we have-
sports proponent of
Oh, yeah,
it.
we have like a musical theater proponent of it, we have a music proponent of it, an academic proponent of it, maybe a sports proponent of it.
I mean,
going-
it depends on
looking-
just if the competition piece of it, I know that they usually take some breaks of different things going on, but, everything can be talked about.
Yeah, something to look into, let's say something to look into.
It's a winner, so, I think we should support it. We're fully supporting that.
Yeah, it's a
expanded.
credit to Dr. Reynolds and the team and our coach,
Yeah.
all the things like that. The one thing that was brought forth by a staff member, just to plant a seed for next year, again, not necessarily for this year, is that there has been, professional conversations of whether or not the board would like us to explore for the middle school students, potentially a lot of programs in other districts focus more on the elementary school, and almost making our program a tuition-based program if other people wanted to attend.
What, for the
Summer
sixth, seventh,
bridge.
and eighth? Yeah, you know what?
Not a lot of middle schools do that.
That would be awesome for algebra. I would love to see that, and I would pay for it.
So that's what I'm saying.
No, I mean, for my own daughter, she
Mm-hmm.
certainly could use that. I mean, she,
Which
you
would
know,
increase our
Yeah.
academic performance, right?
yeah, I think the
Inevitably
kids
it
in
would,
eighth grade
right?
going to high
Mhm.
school.
Supporting them.
that
Refreshers.
Would definitely, I think the whole grade would benefit. All right, we could put that on the table as
Is-
well.
Yeah, just something for future thought.
Also, another suggestion for kids who aren't enrolled in the school, maybe offer them as well too at a price, at a fee, maybe.
Yeah,
Well, yeah, that's what
she's
you're
saying.
saying.
sorry.
Yeah, that's what
Just
I-
saying,
yeah.
yeah, to make it like,
Tuition-based for the,
Yeah.
the elementary school, especially as Mrs. Cameron has pointed out in reports, the lower grade levels, our primary school and lower elementaries are, packed as it is, and we try to be, responsive to their needs and staffing, right? That's why we usually don't post and select staff until after that we know the students are committed to going. But that being said, we can look at anything moving forward. I do agree. The program runs great. It's successful. Oh, and by the way, Mrs. Cameron, I'm so sorry I forgot to mention this earlier. It has a 250 Americana theme. Everything. The T-shirts have that kind of thing going on this year. Yeah.
Great idea.
Yeah. So.
That's great.
Yeah. So sorry. I forgot about. I don't know. I'm sorry. I forgot.
Well, the only thing I could see being, not negative, but the older grades, no one wants to be in summer school in eighth grade. I think it's a great idea, and I certainly, if I had the opportunity, would utilize it, but I'm not sure what the kids are probably gonna hate us, but, I don't know. Well, let's leave it on the table, and we'll further the discussion with Mrs. Camera at a later date. But yeah, if you can continue, Mrs. Camera, with number 5, I guess.
Okay. Number 5, I'll introduce, and then I'll hand it over to Mr. Scarpa if he wants to add on. It's financial literacy with the Naval Weapons Station Earl, a partnership. So Mr. Scarpa proposed partnering with Naval Weapons Station Earl to incorporate Navy federal financial education presentations. In February, Dr. Reynolds met with Liz Bufano. She is our middle school financial literacy teacher, to discuss this opportunity. And beginning this year, all 7th grade students will take a financial literacy course, and some of these sessions are now going to be added into the curriculum. And it also works with with the upcoming finance park trip in June. So now I will defer to Mr. Scarpa if he wants to add a little bit more.
Mr. Scarpa was unable to make it tonight.
Oh, you didn't know, okay,
Yes.
so I'm glad that I was able to talk about it. I'm sure then he can, discuss it in more detail at another meeting, but at least now he knows it is happening, and it was a wonderful proposal, so I do thank him.
Yeah, I will definitely reach out to him tomorrow morning, because I remember when me, Dr. Garibay, Mr. Scarpa did our tour, this had come up during that tour, because they had a building there, and they had mentioned to us, so he was very eager to bring this to our district. So I commend Mr. Scarpa for this fantastic idea, working with the Naval Weapons Station Earl, and bringing this right to our own doorstep. So thank you, Mr. Scarpa and Mrs. Camera, for reporting out on it. We appreciate the notification.
Okay.
Yep.
Should I go to number 6? Okay,
Yep.
thank you. So this is very exciting. This is the Revolutionary New Jersey Partnership Program. So under my request, we also had a parent reach out about this as well. Dr. Reynolds has registered our 3 schools to participate in the Revolutionary New Jersey Partnership Program. The Freehold Regional High School District and many other surrounding towns in Monmouth County are part of this. So this is New Jersey's state educational initiative for the 250th anniversary of America's Revolution, and they are encouraging all schools to become a revolutionary school. So schools that join the program, they receive several professional and instructional perks. They receive statewide events, local and both statewide events that commemorate the 250th anniversary. We get advance notice for kickoff dates. We get access to standard aligned materials, a field trip directory of local historical sites, more resources. A lot of this will just be adding to our website. There's also opportunities for professional development for our teachers and collaboration with historians and educational experts. and we get to use the official Revolutionary New Jersey school logo. So it's all positives, and I'm glad that we were able to join. And it's just really exciting. A lot of these things we're already doing, but it's great to be an official partner with the state in this.
Great to hear, Mrs. Camera, all good things.
So that's the end. Does anyone want to talk about this one in any more detail?
No comments at this time.
Okay, so I am going to leave the meeting now. I'm at my son's basketball banquet. So I'm going to leave, if that's okay with everyone. I'm just letting everyone know, and I'm going to hang up, and
Yes.
I will listen to the rest of the meeting on live stream. So thank you all.
Thank you for participating, Mrs. Camera. We appreciate you giving us the time. Thank you.
Okay, good night, everyone.
Yeah, good night. Okay, all right, that concludes the curriculum. We're gonna move right into finance. Jason, do you want to start us off with anything on this?
We already took care of number 2, and then the financing opportunities, we heard from Phoenix Advisors, right, Vince?
Yeah.
Okay.
We had a meeting.
We had the meeting.
And Phoenix Advisors presented, after that meeting, a hypothetical analysis, if you will,
Okay.
of what a potential bond referendum could look like. In other words, well, to be specific, we said we have debt falling off in the 26-27 fiscal year.
Correct, it's
Okay.
1.6,
So
1.7 million.
after that year, so for 27, 28, how much bonding could the district conceivably go out to do and yet still maintain that same tax impact
To
that
the
was there
taxpayers.
from the
So it's a
debt
wa,
that's falling off?
so it's a wash.
So they went and did an analysis, rough analysis, and if you want me to share that figure, what
Yes.
they said, we could potentially go for about a $34 million amount of bonding. Now, when we look at what our total long-range facilities plan is at this stage, we have to sharpen some pencils because some of those costs that are in there are dated a little bit. But that would be, well, I don't want to go too off track. So the purpose of that meeting was to discuss what financing opportunities does a district have to address all these long-term needs. Now, granted, we did things that benefited the taxpayers. We just did a $10 million ESIP. We're coming to the very closing out that whole project. But that was a no tax impact to the community. And there are still things to do, right? We took some of our own reserve money over time that we built up and put $6 million towards that whole ESIP project. HVAC, we added air conditioning, all that good stuff, which will be talked about pretty soon in that public meeting. Yeah, that's coming up. So there are still things to do on our long-range plan, things that could not have been addressed in the ESIP because it was not an energy savings type initiative. For instance, the rest of the roofs that still need work, we all know about that, and that's millions of dollars when you look at the square footage. That's just one example. Our LRFP consists of replacing original windows at the elementary and Cedar Drive Middle School. A lot of the stuff, frankly, is from past referendums that we failed to pass. So we've been, sitting with these things to do and addressed a lot of it with the ESIP, but there's still more things. So to get to the point, we had this meeting with financial advisors to say, what else could we do? This is one method, and it's a method where, generally speaking, a school district gets the most bang for your buck because the state is still offering debt service aid. When you go out for bonding, you typically will get 34% funding from the state for eligible projects. They have to be eligible. And most of our things are, because we know that from the first 2 attempts that we made. So that's one method. We also talked in that meeting about possibility of doing a 5-year capital lease on some items where the collateral is the equipment and, you know, you go for 5-year terms.
5-year lease back.
Another thing is specific incentives that are out there. And I'll say for energy type replacement of mechanical units. In fact, Mr. Moretta and I are having a meeting tomorrow with DCO to discuss what's called a direct install project, where a district can replace like-kind equipment that has aged out and needs replacement, and you'll get incentives in order to do that. Utility company generally, or the contractor itself, will give a certain incentive or fund part of that, and a district may have to handle the rest of that. So we spoke also in that meeting that I think the board expressed interest in either doing one or several of those methods.
A combination.
A combination. And some of that, again, is the planning on how much, you know, reserves we're projected to, you know, have going forward. As you know, we made some, you know, difficult decisions in this budget cycle with the use of, you know, budgeting.
We made the decisions.
Impact aid
for-
reserve and.
We
and-
thought about our taxpayer and our
Yeah.
township and those difficult
Correct.
decisions.
So, at any rate, it was certainly an informative meeting, and, you know, I would think that we should probably, you know, schedule a lot more meetings between finance and buildings to,
A big part of this, Vince, is, as
Is
we all
planning.
know, is planning for future growth of
Right.
students
Correct,
from,
correct.
from the mandated affordable housing. So not only are we
that
taking
could
care of
certainly be-
our existing needs like roofs and windows, but a lot of that money may go to infrastructure build out for accommodate our future growth. We're gonna be ready as a school
it's a
district
possibility.
by
but-
by having these meetings and
Yeah.
getting a plan in
Well,
place.
Yeah.
I think between a possible referendum, maybe a little bit of what we have in our reserve accounts, and with the 5-year leasing, you know, I think between a combination of maybe all 3 of those, I think we'll be able to satisfy all of our long-range facility plans.
And
I think the discuss,
Correct.
Very well.
part of that discussion and financing, really, we maybe should be partnering with our township committee, township government. We're gonna be issuing, just an idea,
Yeah, I
just a thought.
that,
For the bond issuance on Robin and me.
yeah, that would be kind of like a last resort type deal, I would think. I think number one would be a referendum that wouldn't be anywhere close to 34 million, you know? Don't want to give our taxpayers, you
Heart
know,
attack.
heart attacks with this huge number here.
Right.
Number one. Number two, but it's good. It's good that we know that if the 34 million, you know, was passed, we would be able to keep taxes the same with zero impact to the taxpayers. That's obviously a huge positive. And it's good to know that. I don't think we'll need that much between what we have in our, you know, a little will come from our reserve accounts. Most of it will come from the referendum, and maybe some that qualify, we could do the 5-year lease back when it comes to our, you know, our equipment. And I think a combination of all 3 of those would be very advantageous to us.
And the interest rate's a big factor of that, Vince?
Well,
Clearly.
we have a AAA bond rating,
They
right, Vince?
They assume an interest rate with these analysis, like, I think they used a borrowing rate of 4%. And they look at a typical 20-year bonding.
20-year bonding,
Okay.
you know, 4%. We get the best rating because we're AAA. We have the best bond rating you could possibly get.
Yeah, they would Probably when they would probably, we would probably have to have a bond rating meeting, which we did
Of
when we
yes.
refinanced our debt. Not a difficult
I think important,
process.
a point we should point out to the whole township, everybody listening out there, is we're not going to wait, we're not going to be in a position where you have to tax people 16% next year, 20% the next year. We're looking at a comprehensive financial plan
Yeah.
put in place to take
Yeah.
care of our kids.
Right, correct. I believe that if, the referendum is very conservative, and B, we have a game plan with a 5-year lease back on equipment, and then C, having some funds from our reserve account, I think if we pull from all three of those resources, it'll alleviate taxpayer burden, number one, and number two, it'll help us with our goal with the long-term range facility planning, so we'll be good to go.
I think a great question too that the board has asked of administration has been like, what else do you see happening here? And in addition to those fundings, we have, big aspirations for upgrading our science labs at the middle school that are original. So it's hard sometimes to look at that and say, all right, we need roofs, we need the things that aren't,
Right.
necessarily, they absolutely
was thinking
translate
to-
into the learning
Right, what
environments.
was on
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely,
I mean,
the
we-
long-range
we-
facilities
But
plan,
right.
For sure, we know that the woodworking program, right?
That's
is
on there,
something-
there's
is a wish
different
list that you
projects.
wanna
To your
expand.
point, that's the most important thing,
Right.
the education of kids
Right.
in the classroom. Talking
Right.
about everything else.
Right.
Thanks
So-
for bringing that out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but definitely looking at it through the lens of, what else can we do to offer whomever is sitting in our seats,
Well, the
right?
fir-
And how many of us, and what else
Yeah.
can we continue to provide that is going to, as Mr. Skell said, be a highlight for our district?
Yeah,
And those educational opportunities are
Right.
there with this as well.
I know there's nothing special about, spending $4 or $5 million on a roof, but without a roof, you're not gonna have anything.
Correct, correct.
You know what I mean? So I mean, first things first, obviously, we have to take care of the mechanics of the school that house and provide shelter to the children, the staff, and the administration, number one. And those are all the big ticket items. Those are all multi-million dollars. And then after that, if we can improve the wood shop, if we can update the science labs, if we can, put in a bubble for the sports team, if we could do all that thing, all those,
Revenue
all those goals,
Playground,
yeah, there's
summer school.
revenue opportunities there for some of them, but
Playground.
we can do that, and we can, and, that's something that we could do possibly with our reserve accounts, But obviously, for the millions of dollars, when it comes to the roofs, and it comes to the windows, and it comes to all those other high-end mechanicals that we have to upgrade here, that's gonna, a bulk of that is gonna be with a referendum.
Similar to ESA.
Correct.
financing.
It's gonna be a referendum, and then any mechanicals that we could do a 5-year lease back on, we would take advantage of that and do that, and we would be, and then obviously our bond rating is the best, so,
Just say a Board of Education is not kicking the can down the road, we're
No.
taking action down.
no.
I think it's important to address too, why the previous referendums didn't pass, right? And I think it's important that one of our goals as a district, as a board, is transparency and communication. And a part of a successful bond referendum is your communication and how you present that to the taxpayer. So everything that you had mentioned, as far as money coming off, going on, there's a little bit of marketing involved when it comes to the communication of it. So
sure.
as long as we do it the right way,
Yeah.
and people are transparent, and they hear how we do it, there is no impact to the taxpayer,
Listen,
and
our-
we achieve the goals we need.
Our kids are worth it.
That's it.
We live here, we moved here for a reason, so if we're gonna, we need to invest in our
And
children.
there's a storm a-coming.
Yep, it's here already.
Well, it is up to the taxpayers ultimately, but I agree with you, Kevin. I don't know if your senior base does, but I do.
I get a top three.
Communicating to the seniors.
Mayor, so two things to add that I think might be helpful for the board, and I would definitely encourage the committee to set up our next meeting, because when you talk about a referendum, there's a very strict timeline, and there's only certain times during the year that you can do, run a vote.
To your point of transparency, we're talking about, we want the whole town to hear. I encourage you to come to our meetings, because we're planning, we're gonna put this in action. This has to happen.
So that, yeah, that would be one thing, and for the board to quickly begin talking about, a timeline, if that is of interest, or if that's one of the financing components. The other is, let's sit down and, really get into some of these items on the LRFP, what's priority, and then obviously we'll have to kind of look at the sum total, and that may require some, professional help to determine current pricing, cost for, science labs, I don't know, right? And you go from there. And to your point, it might only be, I don't want to say only, but a number that's significantly under $34 million of a cap.
Very significant, yeah. Well, the cap could be 4% of all, 4% of like all property values, like 138, 4%. We would never take that.
I don't want the public to get hung up on 34 million.
Yeah.
Really, that's
No,
a high.
it's a hypothetical
Yeah,
analysis
that's
of
just, right.
how much debt could
What we really
could the
need, I
board
think
take
we'll
on
figure
without
it out,
having a,
It could be close to what the last
impact.
ESIP was.
which is 10 million, I believe in.
Right, so it
Yeah.
could be close, it could be a little under. or it could be
until
a
we
little-
sit down and
Yeah,
look
I
at
want to get
know.
those
prices.
All right, so
yeah.
let's take that 34 number off the table. It's not going to be $34
like
million.
Yeah, but I think these different opportunities are certainly worth looking at.
So
And
next
I'll
steps.
update you more on how on this meeting tomorrow regarding direct install, because that could be something as well.
So next steps, we'll set out some meeting dates and coordinate with the chairs and say, okay, let's put some, and almost a schedule of meetings, because to Mr. Marasco's point, there are some pretty tight timelines. If we're looking to do something that actually replaces debt, that falls off at the end of next year. There are certain times when you can go out to referendum for a vote. There are sometimes, 3-month, 90-day lead up to submission to the state for them to return things. There's a lot of strict things, so there's a
Why
lot
don't
of
we
work
do
to do.
this? Why don't, I put an email out tonight, well, Jason or Brian could do it, and we'll set it up this coming week.
Yeah.
To start it right away.
That's absolutely- I
maybe
think we
Monday
start
or
about it and
Tuesday.
just
Okay,
say, here's
I'll
what we
work with
got.
the finance committee, and we'll get a date right away within the
Thank you.
next,
Yep.
within the next 5 days.
Perfect,
okay?
just to kind of draw up a rough action plan
Okay,
of what we want to do. Okay.
all right, that's fine.
Also, if like a presentation can be done for the town.
Oh,
so
yeah.
they-
Oh, of
so they
course,
know-
that's
yeah.
all part of it,
Kinda like what
absolutely.
Vince does for us for the budget. Yeah,
Yeah,
that'd be good.
there's not only that, there's, an opportunity, there's an opportunity to, for the further in advance, to be communicating our largest turnouts are back to school. There's a lot of, what Mr. Skelton, there's a lot of marketing that goes into, saying to a public, hey, we have debt falling back, we're looking to replace it. It's not going to add additional blah, 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 but this is what you are
Because
getting.
hearing that could be
So-
scary for the town. Like
Of
you
course it
recently
is,
said.
of course it is. But helping them to understand the process.
Right.
It's the understanding of the process and
Right,
what it does.
So they know
right?
everything will.
Correct,
don't- this will
absolutely.
happen,
Yeah, why give
this-
it back?
That will happen, yeah.
I mean, yeah, if we don't take it, yeah, I know. I know, yeah. All right, is that it on finance, folks? Okay, we're gonna move, let's briefly get into policy here, Mr. Scales.
It'll be quick. Yeah, Dr. Garabay, we've got a date on here for new policy manual adoption. It's in bright lights. Yeah.
It's in bright lights. I think we're at a point now where I'm going to put some finishing things on from administration. I'm going to make a recommendation that where we are, I'll update the links that I've had continually on with the new policies that are on the update, and that we make a recommendation that the new policy manual for the board that transitions everything to school boards, as we've been planning and preparing and revising and reading and all the things, we adopt the manual at the May 20th. That is because it gives us a good about 3 to 4 week turnaround for then school boards uploads it into board docs for us. And then we can continue the work on the policies, anything that we find we want to continue to do, but it just transitions us to the new platform with the new policies, and we're not working in 2 different places. So if you're amenable to that timeline, it's really an adoption of the new policy manual is really what the resolution comes to. And with a detail of what, like a small detail of what each section is, and then that starts the ball rolling with it. They're all linked in there. So I'll be giving more information to the board about what it looks like, but That would be a recommendation we move forward with, just adopting the manual and revising as we continue to go
Yeah,
along
let
like
it
we
get
always
in,
do.
'cause the review's easier once it's in there. You
Correct.
literally just
There's
take
hunting the
the keyword
searches,
and-
right, right. It's just, right now, we're working off our PDF documents, which is not user-friendly, you know, so we want to get
Little
that up.
antiquated.
Yeah, it's a little, so we want to get that up and going. So if that's okay with everyone, that's how I would like to move forward with that. And you want me to do the second one?
Yeah, please.
Okay,
go right
so we are amidst, the admin team is engaged in the cell phone policy, the revision that has to take place prior to the start of the new school year as per the legislation. Just want to point out key requirements for school districts that will update our policy 2623, right? No, 26, what am I, sorry.
2363.
Thank you, thank you, I was tongue-tied for a second. That is actually pupil use of personally owned devices. It's actually now turning into student use of internet-enabled devices. This policy really honestly relates back to like if there was ever an opportunity for bring your own device to school, which we don't do. We don't have people bring their own device because of all the networking and security and stuff that we want to be able to manage that. That being said, this is now going to be expanded to any internet-enabled device that is owned by a pupil, which includes cell phones, which includes smartwatches. It includes a lot of different things. There are some key components that the administration is working on that have to be, in reading at the guidance, into the new policies that are adopted. One is age-appropriate restrictions. We don't currently have that. They want restrictions that are placed on each grade span, not just a blanket one, and it has to be outlined K to 8. A daytime restriction. The law actually requires that on the non-academic use of internet-enabled devices on school grounds during the school day. So our policy already says that they're not supposed to be used. It has to be reiterated that they're not able to use them. Storage solutions. So we are able to continue with the CADI project as we've been doing. And what that looks like, network controls, that districts are encouraged to establish network-based restrictions. We already do. And if we ever you find that we have to change the passwords because someone found it, and then so we move it, but people cannot come in and access our Wi-Fi. It doesn't happen that way. So that has to be included in the policy, and then a communication plan, which is a formal protocol, must be established to communicate these rules clearly to students, parents, and staff. So whatever we adopt, we put in our student handbook. So as we do every year, and we distribute that every year. So those are just some certain things. The exceptions and accommodations that also must be included are health and disabilities. We know that we have different students who use devices, communication devices for different reasons, health reasons. We have students with monitors for health conditions that are used every day. Those are exceptions, and we need to list those within the policy. Emergencies, that we do have to outline emergency use in the policy of what it looks like and how it looks. Instructional uses, if there's ever a time where a teacher, we don't really encourage that or use it, where if there's like a Quizmo or something that people want to use, Quizlet, and they very rarely use it through their Chromebooks, but it does have to be outlined. And then student caregivers, on a case-by-case basis, it has to be outlined, students who act as caregivers for family members, or vice versa, we can outline that. But it's already in our policy, so we can take some of the similar language. So this core policy has a lot of the factors, but just the things that I mentioned there will be incorporated. So it's in draft mode, obviously will be presented to the board for final review and adoption, but that will need to move forward. Currently, right now, school boards does not have a model policy that came out on it yet. So I'm hoping that we can just kind of take what we have and adapt it.
Surprised they don't.
They don't have it yet. I went back and looked.
okay.
It hasn't come out yet as an alert. It might while we're working on it, and then have some good things that we can look at. Yeah. So that's just the update on where we are with it. That concludes policy.
No, that was good, thank you.
All right. Great. Any comments? No? Okay, negotiations, I know they are being worked on
Yep.
with Finance Committee, so we're skipping over that.
Yep.
Transportation, we got an update with the bus arm cameras?
We did. The second round of cameras were installed. They're in. I included pictures in the update.
Saw them, great.
They're in there. The back's out. And remember, this was to address if it flies by on the front end, we get it in the back and
We're gonna
the
have to
rear
plead
camera.
guilty right away.
And it's
Yeah, they got them good with the imaging. Yep.
it's very clear, very impressive imaging and technology. It really is. And so just letting you know that it was completed, and thank you to the board for supporting it.
Any
So,
violations?
Um,
Past week,
we
2 weeks?
actually, the week of the 9th, got 2 more with the installation of the camera. And both were crystal clear. So,
Everybody, stop for the buses in town. Stop for those buses.
the board can
I
have,
absolutely love
we could have
that.
a policy about public shaming if you wanted to. No, it's not, it's about safety. It's about, however we want to do. I think that, that we've done the initiative, we're communicating it, and then it's just again about that communication out there and being able to say, it's here. So I think that we can do our totals. That might be a running total thing that we keep track of it. So that might be something that we could very easily add in the transportation.
that's fair.
Keeping totals of things. That might be a good thing as well. But, anything that helps keep our kids safe. The ticking tab, yeah. 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 I think the one most recent one, which was really concerning, was actually on the passenger side. So it was where the students, yes, and that's one where, it's not even as if the kid the student was crossing the street. It was on the side of where the kid was, where the student was entering the bus, and that's something that's just so infuriating.
Thank the police department for investigation.
With that, Nick
yeah,
Tanea, all the
yeah,
things that he goes
yep.
to, and Audrey Spader, who really does take a lead in managing that with Nicole, and it's just been really beneficial, a good partnership, learning process, and everything, so.
I don't know, that one with the kid right there, that should be public shaming. Right? I would vote to public shame that person.
Yeah.
That's horrible. That really
It is
is
awareness.
horrible. I just don't understand their thinking,
You can't ever be in too much of a rush, that just can't, it can't happen. Too much
All
to
right,
risk.
well, at least, like I said, money well spent. Thank you, Mr. Walsh, for pursuing
Thank
that.
the whole board.
Excellent, yep, thank the whole board, we all voted for it, excellent. Okay, personnel,
Just
we
a
don't
heads
really
up.
have anything there. We're gonna open up the floor to public comment, our second public comment of the evening. Anybody would like to get up and share some questions, comments? Anybody? All right, seeing none, we're gonna close public comment. I'm gonna go right into new business. I do have something for new business, if you don't mind if I could go first. Okay, my neighbor, Jen Winkleman, I'm sure you've heard her name. Our kids have gone to school together for years, since kindergarten, and she is a phenomenal volunteer. I mean, she's been on every single PTO thing I've ever done when my daughter was younger, and she has continued her service for all these years. So she had reached out to me last week and mentioned about an incentive that they do over in Shrewsbury, and she asked me if I would respectfully bring it in front of the board. So what they do over there, they adopt a school motto that changes every year with the outgoing eighth grade class. So the eighth graders come up with the motto, and the boards or administration or both, they pick 5 out of all the submissions, and out of those 5, the whole school gets to vote on it. So she sent me pictures. I know it's kind of pointless, no one at home is going to be able to see it, but basically in front of the school, like let's just say Cedar Drive, they make a banner of that motto that's been voted on. And this year, Shrewsbury's district had "Be Curious, Not Judgmental." So that's what was voted on. I think it's a fantastic, idea and initiative. Mrs. Winkleman wanted to see how the board received it. I told her I'd be presenting it to you tonight as an idea. I know we only have a couple of months left for our 8th grade class, but if it's something that we can decide on tonight to move forward, I could ask, Dr. Garabay to see if Mr. Rigby, I know he's got a long list of stuff. I mean, Dr. Rigby has been fantastic. The amount of stuff that I throw at him and he just does everything with a smile. My heart is so happy when I see Dr. Rigby. I'm almost scared to see him, like he's gonna kill me with all these things. But if he's willing to do this, I think it's great. I don't know if we can make it for the 8th grade class. I don't know, maybe the PTO can sponsor this. I don't know how much a little banner would be.
Yeah, let me see, I can reach out to their superintendent, Brent McConnell is the superintendent in Shrewsbury. He's retiring in June, and I can find out exactly what it entails and how the process is, and then bring it forward to the board.
Great,
And say,
okay.
this is what it is.
No, it's basically, like a professionally made banner. and then it goes out with the 8th grade. But I don't know, I think it's a great idea, and we'll see. When I reference about all the stuff I give to Dr. Rigby, you know, between the 8th grade class to DC, and we're having our big meeting with the student liaisons coming up. I was gonna actually put an invitation out to somebody who would want to join. It is tomorrow already? Oh my God, good thing you reminded me. I will be there tomorrow at 11 o'clock, and I'm so excited to meet all the new liaisons, see their ideas, put together some type of plan for them, and then they will be presenting at our budget meeting the same night as our budget. So this way, they will have a big audience to bring forth, you know, a little biography about themselves, why they basically answered the survey to serve on our board, and come up with some fantastic ideas. I'm so excited to meet them tomorrow. So if anybody can make it and would like to join me, I'd like to extend the invitation to somebody. You let me know by tonight or tomorrow early in the morning. Okay, so that's my new business. I'd like to open it up to anybody else who has any comment. No? Okay, everybody good? Okay, so if we don't have any new business, I am going to we're going to move into executive session at this time. I figured it's going to take about 30 minutes. Obviously, no action's ever going to be taken here, and live stream is going to be concluded at this time. The reasons, as listed on this agenda, we have negotiations, CNTAA, and we have some confidential legal matters we will be discussing. So if I could get a motion to move into executive session at this time.
Motion.
Okay, great. That concludes our meeting for this evening. Thank you all for attending. Oh, yeah, sorry, we're having mic malfunction? Okay.
Formality is,
Yeah.
is everybody in favor?
Yes.
Anyone opposed?
Anybody not want to
Hearing
attend
none,
executive session?
the motion has passed.
Thank you guys very much. Have a good evening, everybody. Okay.
You need this, need these?